Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Wells. I write horror, fantasy, science fiction, and I talk about games on the internet. Today, we are going back to the Icons RPG, which is an absolutely wonderful little narrative superhero RPG. Kind of heavily based on or influenced by the Fate rules, which are designed to tell a story very quickly, much more focused on story than on number crunching. It's a really slick system, and we've talked about a few of the supplements before. This one is called Origins, and the purpose of this book, it's not so much about where you come from as it is about character creation, and so it gives some really neat alternatives. The core game character creation system is based on random rolls, where you will roll randomly on a bunch of tables, and it will give you a collection of powers and backgrounds and skills, and you just kind of have to put together in your head and say, well, how does this make sense? What hero can I build from this? And in fact, the main hero of the Icons, kind of their stable of example heroes, the main one is called Saguaro, who's a cactus person that is clearly just someone they invented using their random rolls and then tried to come up with a plausible, well, where do all these powers come from? How do they relate to each other? And they came up with this really cool cactus man guy who's really neat. What Origins does is it offers two more systems of doing that. And one is a point buy system, which is much more like, Mutants and Masterminds or something like that, where you have a bunch of points and you spend some on powers and some on skills and some on all these other things, and that's how you build, a balanced quote unquote character. The main one in this book is actually based on archetypes. And let me show you what I mean by this, because it is something really unique that I don't know if I've seen before, but it's really cool. So let's show off the Speedster, because this is such a classic thing, right? From Quicksilver to Flash to all these others, every superhero world has at least one person whose power is that they're really fast. So this is the basic template. You've got, your attributes up here, you've got stamina, determination. You choose whatever specialty you want, and these are like skills, things like that. And then you choose 3 qualities or create your own. And then you have super speed. Incredible 7 super speed with the defending extra. And then choose one of the following additional extras: air control, fast attack, phasing, regeneration, surface speed, or vibration control. All of which we've seen in comics, right? Flash can vibrate so fast that he can pass through walls and things like that. These are all based on speed. But this is where it gets really fun. We'll go to the next page here. There's a quick description of how this all works, but then there are variations. So if, for example, you want to be fast but fly, well, then you have the rocket. Replace super speed with incredible 7 flight with the defending extra and an incredible 7 force field. So you fly around really fast. If you want to swim, there's a version that gives you that instead. Here's one that makes you super fast, but because you are controlling time instead of just running. So it's similar. The output is similar, but in a different way. There's the teleporter. You can get from one place to another really fast, not because you run there, but because you just teleport there. I really love this Ricochet, which I guess is kind of like Speedball or whatever his name is from Marvel. Replace super speed with fantastic 9 damage resistance, so you're basically invulnerable. And then an extra where damage causes the hero to bounce like an equivalent level of leaping. So whenever you take damage, you can use that to bounce yourself really far and really fast. Increase your willpower, your determination, give yourself 2 extra specialties, and now you're this Ricochet guy. And then, of course, there's the Rider, where instead of super speed, you just have a cool vehicle, and you're good to go. So all of these different versions of the I'm really fast character, and you didn't have to roll on any tables. You didn't have to just hope that you got the super speed power you really wanted. all designed and balanced together with each other really well. Let's look at not the Gadgeteer. I want to look at the Crime Fighter. This is kind of the Batman, right? Someone who's going out. They don't necessarily have. I mean, you see from this, none of these are supernatural level. They have a ton of determination, which makes them clever and taking advantage of good opportunities. And here we have all of these kind of classic crime fighter things: independently wealthy, intrepid investigator, masked mystery, and then your power is that you have gadgets, able to access any gadget without preparation because it has the instant extra on it. These gadgets often have a theme fitting the crime fighter style, a batarang or whatever. And then, what are our variations for this one? Here's one where instead of having gadgets, you can duplicate yourself, and you can make more of yourself. So very, very different. The gimmick. Replace the gadget's power with one randomly rolled or chosen power at the same level with one extra or 10 points in total value in powers. And so you'd have like one thing you can do instead of a gimmick, or rather, instead of a bunch of gadgets like Batman, you have one or maybe two things that you're super good at. This is more of like a Spider-Man, right? You are a crime fighter. You have this intrepid investigator quality, and tragic history, and outside the law. And then you have this, where instead of a bunch of gadgets, you've got a couple of neat things that you can do and you're just really good at. Here's one that makes you good at fighting at night. Here's one that makes you fly around at night. Here's this vigilante one, which is kind of like replace a level of martial arts specialty with a level of gun specialty. Replace your gadgets with 5 damage guns. So then instead of being Batman, you're Punisher now. I really love this system. And let's show you very quickly all the archetypes. There's the battle suit if you want to be Iron Man, and there's different versions in here to have different kinds of battle suits or magically powered battle suits. The construct, if you want to be somebody like Vision or any other robot character or even a golem character. There's the crime fighter we just looked at, the energy controller, Human Torch style, lots of different versions of this, whether you are creating energy or just absorbing energy, whether you can actually turn into energy, all kinds of fun things there. The Gadgeteer, this one is a delight. Off the top of my head, other than Batman, I don't know who to compare this to, but I mean, Jarlaxle from the D&D Forgotten Realms, the Drizzt books. I love this one because the Collector is the variation of the Gadgeteer. So you get all your powers from gadgets, but you didn't make them yourself. So instead of having a super high intellect, you have a much higher awareness. And then you have sleight of hand or stealth, and you still have a bunch of gadgets that you can use, but you stole them all because you're a thief. Really love this one. The Martial Artist, the Mentalist, if you want psychic powers, the Mimic, which could be someone like Rogue, or someone who's able to do all kinds of other different things, stealing powers from other people, all this stuff. The Mystic, if you want to be a Scarlet Witch or a Doctor Strange or a Zatanna. Even John Constantine maybe fits into this. The Paragon, this is kind of the Superman. And there's, these insanely high strength, incredible stamina, all of these damage, resistance, and flight, and then these different things can give you all kinds of different flavors of that. You can flavor this to be a little less Superman and more like Wonder Woman, or more like Thor, or these big, super powerful characters. The powerhouse is kind of Hulk, or Thing, or Juggernaut, or so on and so on. Lots of fun ones in here. If you want to be able to turn into like Cyclops, or not Cyclops, what's his name? The one in Marvel who's in the Daredevil movies that turns into metal. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. And I know that you'll tell me in the comments, and I apologize. I'll probably remember before this is over. He turns into metal. I can't remember his name. Anyway, that's what that's for. Shapeshifter, which includes not only the stretchy one, but also turning into animals, turning into other humans, turning into, objects or things like that. The Speedster we already looked at. The Warrior, this, as you can tell by this image, this kind of has the Wonder Woman. You can kind of do Thor here as well if you want to get this incredible elemental control power. Lots of things you can do there. The Weapon Master, which would be something like Hawkeye. And in fact, there is an archer version. There's the gunfighter version if you want to do Punisher this way. Someone who's really good with a whip, or who's really good at throwing things like Bullseye in the Daredevil comics. And all of these are really well balanced with each other, and I love them a lot. There actually is a third way of building characters in this book that I didn't mention at the first, because it's more of the it's very simple. If you want to crunch it out, there is the Heroes by the Numbers method, where you get to add all your points together, blah blah blah. There is the third method is the character modeling, which is much more loose. You basically come up with a power, like, well, I want to be the Flash, except I also want to be able to walk on walls. Okay, well then, we're going to put this together. How is this going to work? Here are the benchmarks. Like, if you have a 6 in willpower, what does that really mean? Then it gives an example using one of their characters from the core game, who's kind of like Thor, but based on Irish mythology instead of Nordic. And they kind of go through there, and they talk through the thought process of how to create that person and all of this stuff. So, 3 new methods of character creation. If you don't like the random tables, or you just want more control, you've got archetypes, you've got the numbers, and you've got this character modeling thing where you just kind of put it together and hope that it's fair. And with your game master's help, we assume it will be. The other thing I really like about this book, and kind of the last thing that it includes here, is a background generator. And this is in depth. So if you want to choose or roll on any of these tables, you can figure out gender, ethnicity, age, what your personality is like, what you value, your attitudes about certain things. And then there's some background history. Where were you born? Do you have a tragedy in your life? And if so, what was it? Past experiences that you've had, friends and foes, good things that happened to you, bad things that happened to you. Really love that background generator section, and it is such a fun thing. I love random tables, and I love systems of tables that work together to tell cool stories and create cool ideas. And this background generator does that. Then they've got a whole huge section on specialties, a huge section on necks. It talks about team roles. So like you're looking at the Fantastic Four, for example, and you want to build a super-powered group similar to that. And you're saying, well, we need to make sure we have our big bruiser, like the Thing, but we also want our high damage character, which, the blaster of Human Torch. And then we need somebody sneaky, so we've got Invisible Woman. And we want to have someone who's kind of the utility support mastermind. Fitting all these roles together can be tricky, and there's lots of different roles and different ways to combine them. You don't have to have your utility support character also be the mastermind, like Mr. Fantastic. You could have that work in a completely different way using somebody else. So, anyway, these roles are a lot of fun, and then there's a little section about supporting characters at the end. So, I really like this book. I really like the whole Origins system. It is a fun game system. I will make sure to include the link to that review on one of those little cards that pops up, probably right here. And you can check that out. Actually, I think it'll be down here. Anyway, it's a great system. And if you like superheroes and you like role-playing games that rely strongly on narration and player freedom, Icons is a really, really good one, and a really affordable one too. So check it out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Final plugs. Go read some of my books. They're all awesome. I've got huge horror series. I've got 2 different science fiction trilogies and some standalones. I don't have any superhero books, but if you're into historical fiction, last year I published a spy novel set in Berlin in 1961. No magic or robots or anything. It's just cryptographers in the middle of the Cold War. Anyway, I also am a professional game master. I can run a game for you, including, if you are interested, icons, whether a one-shot or a campaign. Either way, thank you so much for watching this video. I am Dan Wells, and you are awesome.